Let's go.
Everybody, get your daddy out of the field, get your mama out of the kitchen, you get your brother and sister out on the field playing with the lambs and the sheeps.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Ronald Ray here, your boy with a cornbread accent. Welcome you to this week's episode of Wrestling Gold Friday Night. I got going to talk about what happened on May 24th. Going to do a little watch along with featuring the World Wrestling Council. Yes, some Caribbean wrestling from Puerto Rico, but it did feature a lot of name stars. I did have to what I did was I found like a commercial video and kind of spliced it up a little bit. So also what I'm gonna do is probably stalling for a lot of time because my splice edition is still uploading. So pardon me for the little bit of a stalling. Um, but you get to maybe get you behind the scenes on how I edit this stuff, or excuse me, my crack team of editors. Anyway, yes, hopefully everybody had a good week. Trying to get myself woken up a little bit. A friend of mine uh, recommended this. It's a monster, Hava Monster Irish Cream. Uh, she sent me a picture of it. Said, "Hey, it's pretty good." And I was like, "Oh, I never had that before, but seen it in stores." And I was like, "How's it taste?" I never had Irish cream before. And she's like, "Well, it tastes like Irish cream." Um, Now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of dawned on me that she likes redheads. So I, I'm not sure if I want to try this now, but in all seriousness, she's like a big coffee drinker. I'm not. She's usually dead on about gives good recommendations as far as um, coffee type drinks. So gonna try this and kind of pet me up a little bit. Maybe I should shake lightly. See, my own joke kind of is backfiring. I don't know if I want to try this because let's see here. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. But anyway, before I get started here, let me go ahead and remind people that hey, if you want to join us live, feel free to do so. Say hello in the chat. If you catch a replay, drop a like and leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite memories of pro wrestling is, especially dealing with May 24th or Caribbean wrestling or the World Wrestling Council, if I can spit that out loud. Also, if this is your first time watching, hey, be a champ and click on that subscribe button. It is free of charge. and I greatly appreciate it. And of course, my audience is probably telling me right now, "Hey, quit drinking. We're not. We don't want to sit here and listen to you drink." Um, and of course, like I said, I'm kind of stalling for time here, which I think I got plenty. I got plenty to talk about here to talk about. Hello, Joe King. I guess you're feeling better. You don't have the mask. Is that? I don't think you got the mask on this week, so uh, he probably took his vaccines, about 20 of them, and he's feeling fine now. But anyway, let's talk about a little bit of the history of pro wrestling here. Let's see. First thing we I want to get to this date in 1973 in Kansas City, Missouri. Harley Race defeated Dory Funk Jr. for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And I do believe this was. Let me go back here. Uh-oh. Okay, this is to win his second NWA World Championship. At the time, Dory Funk Jr. had a long reign of it, and let's see, trying to think here. Strike that. This was Harley Race's first title reign. Dory Funk before that, he held it for 1,563 days. Dory Funk Jr. had defeated Gene Kiniski January 7th of 1966, or excuse me, February 11th, 1969. Uh, Hell for a long time there. So, time to shift the focus and get it to Holly Race, and let's see if we can do something here and not land me in any trouble here. Let me clue that out. It's gonna be a last. Uh, I don't even think a full minute, maybe a little longer than a minute of the match here. Let's see.
Side headlock again, now by Dory Funk Jr. Side headlock now, gripping those knuckles. If you can see those knuckles locked in, Ray still with enough power and
I do
leverage
believe this was like a 2 out of 3 falls
is
match
able
here.
to pull and force it up the line. This is a head drop.
I think they've kind of gone almost an
And
hour
Ray misses
at this
with that
point.
head drop. But he doesn't miss his own head as they drop viciously to the mat. Count of 1, 2.
Yes, Harley Race was definitely he was one of the greatest wrestlers, toughest wrestlers, legitimate tough guy wrestlers too, on Dynamite screen.
Now Race driving back. Race with a big movement. Front of the mat. Count of 1, 2, 3.
And yes, Harley Race won his first world championship with this not a fancy suplex, just a regular vertical suplex. Wins the match. Ooh, let's go ahead and get rid of this. So that's how Harley Race won his first NWA World Championship. He will win it on 7 occasions. I'll kind of move this down too. Hopefully, let's see. Yeah. So he not quite not quite cured yet, but he's getting there. That's good. Um, but like I said, he legitimate tough guy. Um, Nobody's going to deny it. Uh, Seemed like he has some problems in his life, but personal problems in his life. Uh, it was documented on the Dark Side of the Ring featuring him, but there's no denying he was one of the toughest around because nobody really messed with Harley. And I've watched plenty of shooting reviews, and they've all said the same thing. Nobody messed with Harley. Um, let's see here. screwed something up here. Let's I wonder if I can fix it. Yeah, like I said, my crack team of editors are, kind of not exactly on the ball today. So sometimes you guys just go with the flow. Here we go. All right. On this date in 1984, Ric Flair defeated Kerry Von Erich, best of three falls match in Yokosuka, Japan, to win the NWA World Championship. Of course, this was the rematch after the David Von Erich Parade of Champions, or David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions. Let's see. Let me go through here again. This was Ric Flair's, and of course, what sucks about now is like uh unfortunately, core Wikipedia. This is 6-1, but um they kind of there was like a lot of, I want to say, not fan title changes, but title changes that happened. I think Ric Flair tells one where he was in Puerto Rico. Speaking of Puerto Rico, go and watch Puerto Rico tonight. Um, and the crowd was like ready to riot if Flair won. So he told his opponent. I want to say it was Carlos Colon, but maybe not. Might have been another popular Puerto Rican wrestler, but I can't remember her name off the top of my head. But he did say, "Hey, hey, kid, roll me up. All right, get out here, then we'll just, you know, phantom title switch down the road." So you had a few of those in there, uh, but yeah, it's been documented too. The Parade of Champions that year, it was supposed to be David Von Erich winning the World Championship, but unfortunately he passed away. Kerry got that spot, and then pay back the favors back to Ric Flair and Japan. Uh, Also, unfortunately, on this date in 1984, Vincent James McMahon, or simply Vince McMahon Jr., passed away of pancreatic cancer in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He was 69 years old. Let's see. Let's see. Running out of an old barn in Washington, D.C., McMahon began airing matches on the Dumont Network in 1955. It was one of the last live sports programs for the dying network, but their flagship station in New York, WABD, formerly known as WNYW, owned by Fox, picked up the program and their matches on Saturday nights until 1971. Vince McMahon Sr., he didn't appear on TV much at all, as he believed promoters should never interfere with in-ring action. I think it seems like a lot of promoters back then kind of did the same thing. Hello, Brenda Watson. Um, but I don't think, not like now that uh, owners and stuff like that make sure they got their face on TV, uh, gets some spotlight. But uh, senior, I think with a lot of well, Bill Watts kind of did the same thing, but he was already a star at the time. But anyway, however, he was seen during the infamous alley fight between Sergeant Slaughter and Pat Patterson in the early 80s. He could also be seen in the 1974 movie The Wrestler. Yes, I do remember that. He also felt wrestlers shouldn't branch out into other forms of media. Thus, his disapproval of Hulk Hogan's appearance in Rocky 3, which landed him in AWA. And of course, Vince's son would actually bring Hulk Hogan back because he's seen him as a big star thanks to Rocky 3. Uh, by which point let's see, Vince's son, Vince Jr., felt differently and hired Hogan back 2 years later. Of course, this is 1981, by which point he had assumed control of the WWF. He bought the WWF and his parent company, Titan Sports, in 1982. Despite his father's reservations, Vince McMahon took the company national and eventually worldwide. Unfortunately, Vince Sr. would never get to see the fruits of his son's success. 4 months to the day of Hulk Hogan's defeat of the Iron Sheik, for the WWF Championship in Madison Square Garden, essentially launching the 1980s wrestling boom, WrestleMania, Rock and Wrestling. He would pass away. Like I said, he was 69 years old. Um, but again, if you watch a lot of these Sheen interviews, Bruno and like I said, a lot of these wrestlers they have huge respect for Vince Senior. Um, again, sometimes it flip flops with Vince McMahon Senior. It's kind of like Jim Crockett. A lot of people had respect for Jim Crockett Senior or Big Jim, as a lot of people call him, but sometimes not all that love is given to Jim Cornette, Jim Crockett Jr. But that's a different story for a different time. All right. On this day in 1985, yes, Oprah Winfrey. I believe this is before she was about to launch her, talk show, which bring her worldwide fame and lots of money. Um, made an appearance at a WWF house show. Their appearance was a cross promotion with local morning show AM Chicago, which 3 matches from the event air on the show with Oprah doing guest commentary. And the show's main event, WWF Champion Hulk Hogan defeated Don Morocco. But yeah, like I said, this is a little bit before I think she really started blowing up in 86, 87, I believe. Um, but this is a little bit before that, uh, so you can almost kind of say Oprah Winfrey used wrestling as a launching pad. All right. On this day in 1991, a new character in WCW appeared. Uh, the wrestler wasn't quite new. That was Scott Hall. Picked up a new gimmick called the Diamond Stud, managed by Diamond Dallas Page. Of course, this was basically it was a slow morph into Razor Ramon. He had Diamond Stud had the slick black hair, uh, and the build, basically the look of Razor Ramon, but not quite there. WCW is almost kind of like a copy of Rick Rude a little bit. He would bring women to the ring and uh, remove his breeches, uh, Velcro breeches, whatever it was. Um, so yeah, it was kind of the Rick Rude thing, but of course Scott Hall. Of course he did debut the move. The at the time was called the Diamond Death Drop, which later became the Razor's Edge. And like I said, by the time he got to the WWF, he had a look, but didn't really have that character down. Of course, you can watch the Andy Scott Hall interview. I think a lot of them are on YouTube right now, and he'll tell you how he pretty much morphed into Razor Ramon. They needed a character, so uh, and that, like I said, this gave him a look. Went to WWE or F, got the character, and the rest is history as far as that's concerned. Unfortunately, some more sad news on this date in 1999. The WWF presented Raw is Owen. Of course, this was the day after his unfortunate accident that led to him passing away at the Over the Edge pay per view. Man, you talking about some memories there. Yeah. Remember being at my buddy's place and hanging out with them, and we're sitting there watching it, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, we that was kind of odd. They kind of went to a pre-tape interview. Um, then instead of the usual go to the ring or go to hit the music whatever for the wrestler to come out, they go to the desk and there's Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. Jim Ross informing the people that folks Owen Hart literally just fell. Jerry Lawler was right there, just kept looking at the ring, and he was like, "This." I mean, do remember him sitting there going, "Hey, this ain't good." I mean, he was kind of speechless. You know, uh, he just said this ain't good. Unfortunately, he would pass away from that fall. Uh, but during that show, they had a 10 bell salute. Rest, they had a few matches on there, but they didn't go through any angles and stuff like that. I think there was a match between Godfather and Road Dogg. They didn't even wrestle. They just, say, hey, let's go to the back, smoke one, and tell some Owen stories. Uh, like I said, there's a lot of videos of, fellow wrestlers coming out and uh, just talking about Owen, telling some Owen stories and how they felt about Owen and stuff like that. Then in the end, Stone Cold came out and opened a beer, gave him a cheers to the uh, what was called a Titantron time, showing the picture, uh, showing the in memory picture of Owen Hart, which dude was a talented guy, man. And from uh, what everybody said, man, nobody, he really didn't have no heat with anybody. I think there was a little bit of heat with Austin after the pile driver incident, but um, I'm not sure if they were really uh, buried those bad feelings away. There's some people say yes, some people say no on that one. Um, but yeah, he was just a family guy, just trying to make his money and get everything paid for and retire. Hello, Karen Poole. How are you doing? I really can't tell what these little graphics are. Looks like ghosts and zombies and everything else. It's not even Halloween yet. But yeah, like I said, uh, actually I remember Owen being a rookie in Canada, and read basically reading about this before the internet, YouTube, and stuff like that. This is how we found out about wrestlers. There was these things called wrestling magazines. Now they're called after magazines. You had Pro Wrestling Illustrated, The Wrestler, Inside Wrestling. They would, talk about different wrestlers. Owen Hart had a lot of coverage at the time. Remember seeing him in WCW for a brief time. This is when they had, brought in, Brian Pillman, that's Flying Brian and all that. Z-Man came in, so looked like Owen Hart was probably going to come in, but he just made, I think like 2 or 3 matches or something like that, and kind of disappeared. Then all of a sudden, well, I think a little bit before that too. I think the Blue Blazer came before the WCW. Could be wrong, but I do remember the Blue Blazer and WWF, and it's like, huh. And of course, there was that Pro Wrestling This Week, which actually showed you a match with Owen Hart. So when I was sitting there watching the Blue Blazer, I'm like, and looked at him and stuff like that, I'm like, wait a minute, that's Bret Hart's brother. That's gotta be Owen Hart. Um, so yeah, that's for me. I kind of guess it was Owen Hart. Um, uh, but uh, but he was a high flyer at the time, a uh, trend setting high flyer. A lot of stuff he was doing back then, you see normally now. He was in that class with like Jushin Liger, Owen Hart, or Owen Hart was with Jushin Liger, Benoit, Brian Pillman. I mean, Brian Pillman was the first person I seen do like the springboard clothesline. Now springboard clotheslines and forearms and hurricanranas and drop kicks and 450s and anything you springboard off, you pretty much see him uh, see everybody do now. And it started with Brian Pillman. Uh, and of course, there was Dynamite Kid. There was another trendsetter, but yeah, definitely a sad day when we lost Owen Hart. Um, and I think I have everything. I think I got everything geared up now. Everything's unloaded. I think I talked uh, and gave a lot of time to. Let's see here. Anything else I want to talk about? We can probably talk about later. So yes, this week on the watch along, I do got some World Wrestling Council. This was the promotion owned by or ran by Carlos Colon in Puerto Rico. Uh, so my phone is buzzing. I don't care who it is. How I got to watch this, like I said, there was a show on Atlanta station WATL 36, show called Superstars Wrestling. They show different promotions, and this was like the very last promotion they would show that night, early morning, however you want to call it. Um, and it's definitely different, a little more, a little more violent than what you would see in the state. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was plenty of violence in the territories at that time, but this was it was maybe a notch above what we was used to seeing. So let me go ahead and there's a button here. I'll click called sources. There's a plus sign. Media source. Okay. Browse. And there it is.
And ladies and gentlemen, what a way to start off another great EG Classic tape with nothing better than a World Championship match with the champion, Carlos Colon, the World Wrestling Council's heavyweight world champion, versus none other than the brat, Tully Blanchard.
I should have done this too, but I didn't.
Carlos Colon and Tully Blanchard have a rivalry.
This rivalry and feud started.
And of course, a lot of this is coming from an actual commercial tape. I don't want it, but I kind of spliced it enough to where hopefully I won't get sued or not sued, but copyrighted.
That's right. He thought that he had everything going for him. Ladies and gentlemen, what a way to start off. He thinks he's going to take this world title, and I'll guarantee you one thing. Tully Blanchard, if I know him the way I know him, he'll be out there giving 110% all night long.
Referee Ricky Vargas Benitez from Puerto Rico. And this match taking place in Guaynabo, just 20 minutes away from San Juan.
And Tully Blanchard, back in his day, I don't know if anybody remembers seeing him or anything like that, but
when you're a world champion,
he could definitely draw some heat.
You can kind of pick your places you want to wrestle for those title matches. Right there was a nice exchange.
Whoa. One thing about Carlos, he is not that heavy. He's not that tall, but he does stand with any of the big guys as far as
by the way,
power is concerned.
Well, Carlos
we'll get
Colon's
too
got a
much
lot
into it.
going for him. Carlos Colon is probably
This ain't that
one
bad.
of your premier wrestlers.
If you're
He
into
can
Monster
wrestle,
Hoppo
he can
drink,
street fight. He can do
Java
anything you
drink,
want to do.
excuse me.
And I'll tell you what, sometimes when he goes out there and starts street fighting with you, you kind of wish you had to
didn't
start.
make too bad.
Well, sometimes
Still
you
prefer
don't
the mean
notice
bean,
that much on the height of Carlos. He's 6 feet tall, but when you're talking about the man involved in professional wrestling, being 6 feet tall is not really that much of an advantage because there are much bigger men.
That's right, but
I don't know if y'all heard that commentary. They were talking about Carlos Colon being 6 foot tall, but in pro wrestling, especially at that time, 6 foot tall, I was actually considered kind of a small wrestler. 6 foot, 230, 240, maybe you're 240. You're probably I was probably Ric Flair's weight, and Flair was probably like 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", I believe. So it is,
Including the World Cup given to him in Africa.
I won't say small, but average. I remember Shawn Michaels. He was 6 foot tall,
What about Blanchard?
and considered a small guy too.
Tully
Tully Blanchard was actually, I think, 5'10", but just the way he acted, he kind of looked, especially on TV, bigger. Same thing with Randy Savage, which we'll see later on too.
One half of the World NWA Tag Team Champions. Tully Blanchard was also a great amateur athlete.
I think Randy Savage was actually 5'10", and I think there's a little documentary about Randy Savage where Lena Papa talks about this. Like when he came in the ring with that big robe, he would kind of like spin around, kind of like stand on his toes a little bit, and kind of make sure the presentation make him look bigger and taller than what he really was.
The pinfall,
So yeah,
is it gonna
if
be Carlos or Blanchard?
kind of
We
side by
are
side
giving
there or face to
to
face
you
there, it looks
right
like
now classics of professional wrestling, the opportunity
if
to
Tully Blanchard was
relive all the
legitimate
historical
5'10",
events that took place in the World Wrestling
looks
Council.
like Carlos Colon was
That's right. You know
little
something? You take a look
smaller,
at this
but
tape, take a look at Tully Blanchard's
the guy
hair,
was over.
and you take a look
He
at
come to the
Carlos Colon.
States, and I
This
think
tape
he
is a few
would
years
get good
old.
reactions. I don't
And
think
like
he
I
really
say, on some of these
did
tapes
big
we're gonna be
business in the
bringing you
States.
tonight on this video, ladies and
Kind
gentlemen,
of like
the
Mills
quality is
Mascaras.
not gonna be that good
He'll come
because
over
of the
basically as a
age
attraction,
and the
have a match
stories. That's right, on the
here and
tape.
there, but
we're putting
never
them on
really
video for
any
you
kind
so you
of
get the classics.
big deal. Probably, if it was probably a little
Carlos
before
Colon
I started watching wrestling,
all over Blanchard.
or way before I started watching wrestling.
Like I
But
said, Tully's
at
gotta
this time,
change
he
his
was
act-
the
his
man
tactics if
in
he
Puerto
wants to
Rico.
win this. He's got to start getting Carlos Colon.
Of course, when you
in a
own
little
the
bit of a
promotion, you can
situation
do
here,
that. But
situation here.
you know,
He better do it quick before
same
the
thing
fans
said
get
about
involved
Jerry
in the
Lawler
match.
too. I mean,
This match for the World
Jerry
Wrestling
Lawler,
Council World
we didn't know at the
Championship, this was
time,
way
like
back before Ric Flair
back
and
then,
Carlos Colon
we
went
didn't
at
know
it
at the time Carlos
for the
Colon
Universal
ran
Championship. Title that
Puerto Rico
Carlos
wrestling,
Colon
just like
won on a very
back then we didn't know that Jerry Lawler was part
That's
owner
right. You see that Carlos
of
Colon through that man, the turnbuckle. Tully
the
Blanchard
Memphis
left his feet,
Championship Wrestling
hit the top
Association
rope, went over the top rope, the
Memphis
apron to the floor.
territory.
Tully Blanchard has definitely got to start getting
We
his thing
all
together.
know, hey,
there was no
got that
disqualification
strap
rule
down, and
back
it
then
was on like talking
about
phone.
going over the top rope.
That just goes to show you, because right there it just happened. But you sit there and you take a look. Tully Blanchard has got to get on the offensive and quit being on the defense.
But I will
if he
say,
wants to be the world heavyweight.
any of those envy young kids out there,
Blanchard comes
they
right
might
in, side headlock
become
cross.
pro wrestlers
He's
or
got something in his
actually
hands
pro
in
wrestlers
his
right
hands
now,
in front of
learning the craft. Watch some Tully Blanchard tape,
all over the eyes of Carlos.
especially if you're, if you're a heel right now. Watch some of his tape.
He had to get on
He didn't
the
try to be the
offensive.
cool
He
heel.
was a defensive wrestler all night long with Carlos
He
Colon.
would cheat,
'Cause if you are,
throw those
Carlos Colon's
punches,
gonna beat you. There's some
choke,
nice left hands. You look how
act
strong
cocky.
Colon is. Colon's not going down.
anything to get a boo.
He was staying
The crowd to
right-
hate
he was
him.
staying right up there fighting with you a little bit.
Good move by Blanchard. He followed through, going for the pinfall, and not agreeing with his tactics, using that foreign object across the eyes of
And of course,
Carlos.
he
but
wound up getting,
good follow through,
he got the
almost
heat
getting a
moment now.
pinfall.
He got it from
Sometimes it's how fast
using
you
a,
can surprise your opponent. Now he's putting all
so
that pressure
all
on
these
top of Carlos.
objects,
That's right,
foreign
you got the
objects,
reverse chin lock, he's just bearing down on
brass
it.
knuckles,
He's
and
gonna
all
wear
that good
Carlos
stuff.
Colon down a little bit, get him down, being a little bit more tired than Tully is, and Tully's gonna try to take it to him and pin it.
Bobby, for the fans at home right now, what's Carlos Colon feeling right now under that hold?
And in case you're wondering, the commentary is
Migraine headache.
done by
He's got Tully, it looks
the
like Tully's
main
got a lot
commentator
of
for World Wrestling Council, Hugo Sabanovich, and the Heyman, Bobby Jagger.
And also, the way that Tully's leaning over the top of him, I'm sure that he's taking the air out of that diaphragm too.
Which I wish I,
Carlos Colon tried to get
not
back
sure if
into
I
his
included
feet.
Bobby Jagger.
Not an
I
easy
don't think I
task
did.
when you're dealing with a
Uh,
superb athlete like Tully Blanchard. Good tackle
Should've.
by Carlos. Oh, look at this move. Oh, look at this move by Blanchard. And Carlos
there you
almost
go.
went
You
head
just
first into
pull
the
those
floor.
tights.
All you do is
Hey,
just grab those
pull him
front
up
tights,
to the-
let the man
to the
have
floor.
momentum, take him right out of the ring on you.
Now he's gonna take advantage of it again.
Now Tully Blanchard's coming out the floor. Oh, nice
Just
kick
put the
right in
boots
the
to
face.
him.
That's more or less your style, Bobby. You love to do that to your opponents.
Sure, name of the game is
Are,
win.
are many of the wrestlers from Texas and
They like
Oklahoma
now,
or Kansas
nowadays,
use the same style?
if a
or
wrestler
is
threw
it
somebody
way
over the
of
barricade,
life
they
or
would
what?
chase them down. They'd fight in the crowd. Referee just looked stupid, not doing any time count or anything like that. You see Tully Blanchard here, he threw him over the thing, ran back in the ring to beat the count, and he's probably one of the referee, he's actually trying to cheat the win, because it's a whole lot harder trying, being at a weakened state like he is right now. He's going out there and punching him down again, because if he's at a weakened state, it's kind of hard. It puts that extra obstacle, now he's got to climb over the barricade, then climb into the ring,
World Wrestling Council World Championship, and if he is to win,
see,
he's got to get
goes-
the champion back in the ring.
puts in a
hit his
couple
shoulders
cheap
and
shots,
make him submit
and
inside the ring.
gets the referee
One thing
count
you
some
can't do
more.
with a champion, you can't beat him with a disqualification, and you can't beat him with a countout. You got to beat him inside the ring with his shoulders on the mat. 1, 2, 3. That's the only way. That's the only way you can take that belt. Tully, it don't hurt. You can't do it out there, boy. You got to get him in the ring.
joking. Speaking of the commentary, I find this set of the WWC and all that
He forgot the ring is where you
is
get the
in
pinfall.
Spanish.
That's right.
Then,
He's just going to cover him. He didn't care where he was at.
Probably being an expert in Texas death matches, he thought this was one of those.
That's right. And here goes Cologne. Cologne's running around the ring here. He's getting a little excited.
Okay, Can Blanchard.
Yeah,
Stop
I
the
could.
moves of Carlos. Here he comes.
I know very little Spanish, and here some of these guys on the social sites speak Spanish the whole time.
And so fast.
I'm like,
Turnbuckle
what?
hard. Here he comes. High back drop.
All right, now we see. There we go.
Pat did the cartwheel right there.
See that? That cartwheel I think was more famous for because I was watching another match where the commentator was like, "Hey, there's that cartwheel. You know the shit's on now."
Is this payback time, Blanchard?
Good matches, but don't know what's going on. Yeah, that's the only bad thing about. I remember back got the Japanese wrestling tapes and good matches. And so, I mean, I remember watching what's that, Telemundo? And they would show AAA, Lucha Libre. Couldn't tell you what was going on, but all the stuff they're doing looked pretty cool. And see, you know, Carlos Colon was a champion at the time. So, he's the babyface, got some pride in him.
So he got another 20 seconds out there with the man.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'll tell you something. Blanchard looks like he's hurting pretty bad right now.
Carlos is just all over. And Blanchard, and head first into the concrete floor. And the advantage is to Carlos. If they get count out outside the ring, the champion will retain the title.
So see, Colon, you know he's a champion. If he wins by count out, he's not going to lose.
Because he could have just done so.
Don't know why Tully was trying to get counted out.
Is that the pride?
But you know, he still want to beat Tully Blanchard. Still want to have some pride. Yeah, they get this was for a championship. My bad, folks.
Tully Blanchard, one of the many battles.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, what about the balance on Carlos? That was a very risky move on the part of Colon. And Blanchard right there. Referee warning them to go back into the ring. Here comes Carlos. Another headbutt. He's all over Blanchard.
And the referee's right there. It's not too stupid like you see him today.
He's way back into the ring.
He's trying to show some authority. So, hey, guys, get back in the ring.
That's what Tully Blanchard can scare you. I'll tell you what, when you think you got him
that was
beat.
right in the crotch area. And you know it's painful, and it's not legal, it's illegal. And
well, I think two things have happened here. I think that Tully Blanchard has exploded on Carlos Colon, and I think that the referee has lost all hope of containing this match.
You are right. I blame the referee for not being stronger and getting these two athletes back in the ring.
Even if he has to get forceful, he's got to maintain control of the match. Any referee has to.
If the wrestlers control the referee, it's not a beautiful sight, especially in a world title match like this one. Mind you that dealing with the likes of Tully Blanchard, there's not too many referees in the NWA, AWA, or WWC that could handle his tactics because he will drive anybody crazy.
Well, he doesn't drive people crazy. He just goes out there and beats people. Here he goes, front face suplex right here. Oh, he didn't get him up.
Carlos blocked it.
Colon reversed it.
Great move. Look at that follow through. Right on top of Tully Blanchard. He blocks it, putting his
foot's on the ropes there, Hugo. Don't miss that now. The foot's on the ropes.
And actually, Carlos Colon finishing hole was the bigger four, so hey, you want to put your foot up there, put your leg up there, I'm going to go after it, and probably lock in my hold and call it a day.
His famous figure four leg lock.
Every few seconds, see.
What about his move?
Tully Blanchard's got the most beautiful slingshot suplex I've ever seen. Ever
Yeah,
witnessed
kind
in a
of like
wrestling ring. He definitely does beat a lot of people with it.
AAA on Telemundo.
Okay,
They'll have that. Oh, he's about to lock it in right now. Figure four. Oh,
okay,
Tully blocked it.
He's got his figure four almost on, but now he's got it locked.
Now he's got it.
Now it's locked in.
Now got the figure four locked on Tully Blanchard.
Is it all over for the challenger?
Got to the ropes.
Oh, he's on the ropes. He's on the ropes.
Son of a gun.
Super move. You're watching.
Oh, that's Road Dogg would say. Son of a biscuit.
Bringing you back into the great history of professional wrestling. Great wrestlers going at it in super confrontations in the World Wrestling Console. And now Blanchard finds himself in a world of trouble. Looking for the world title is becoming a nightmare.
Well, I'll tell you something. He's created his own bed and he had to lie in it. And I'll tell you right now, Carlos Colon has taken it right to him. But as you notice, when that man was in the ropes, Colon was not breaking on him, Hugo Sminovich. He was pounding on him. The rules state when a man's in the ropes, you've got to break the hold, break back away from him, and give him a chance to get out of the ropes. Carlos Colon's not doing that.
Carlos Colon not giving Blanchard any chance. He's going for all the marbles right here.
Could it be at this time that Carlos Colon might be a little scared of Tully Blanchard?
Well, by the many matches they have had prior to this, Carlos knows that he's not to trust Blanchard at all.
Well, you don't trust anybody, especially when it comes to women or money or professional wrestling. You don't trust anybody. You know that, Hugo Sminovich. But I'll tell you something right now. I think that maybe Carlos Colon's a little bit scared of Tully since you say they have wrestled each other before. Maybe Tully's got his number and Carlos knows it.
Okay, good punch by Tully Blanchard.
I don't know if y'all hear that.
That was a desperation.
Bobby Jagger's doing a heel thing. You know, he's a college commentator
Okay,
here.
here comes.
Of course, you know, being biased towards the heel.
That's a low blow. That's a low blow.
Oh, referee see that? Come on.
During the match, I should say, same tactics on the rail.
Not so. That was a violation of the rule.
Look at this move. He does that. I don't know how. Can a man move so fast? Get his rival off balance. And just like how would you say that, Bobby? Slingshot him.
He gets his weight going and just propels him through the ropes.
You use the front of the trunk and you just charge
Get your weight going backwards. Just grab hold of his weight.
Ref bump. Oh, no.
The referee was
All right. Too many shots to the Webos in this match already.
And what he did was he got met with his stomach.
I have never seen that happen
Okay, I
before.
get this
The
stuff,
referee
but almost close to the Webos here.
But Carlos is feeling it around the mid, part of his body.
Well, I'll tell you something. Like I told you about Tully Blanchard. When you think you got him down, that's when he's going to hurt you.
He's a tough customer. He's a tough customer. They call him Bully Tully Blanchard. And especially if he's got the advantage on the match, he will not go for a quick
here we go.
He will hurt
It's
you.
gonna be a
He will hurt you
slingshot
first.
suplex. Oh.
Beautiful suplex.
Now right there, Tully Blanchard could have done his famous slingshot suplex, but he didn't do it. I don't know why.
Put his boot on the Blanchard.
So,
I
I guess he didn't notice the foot on the rope. Okay, now he does.
Well, no, the referee didn't count three. Didn't count three. Tully Blanchard.
And here it comes, ref bump.
The referee.
There we go.
To Ricky Vargas. Here it comes.
Now he's going to trip over him.
He lost his balance. Carlos is on top. And I. 2, 3. You talking about the referee
Oh, that clumsy fool, that referee. You leaving us already? Yeah, that was a whole rough. Well, I guess it's going to be a total ref bump. You know, he had to kind of wake up enough to make that 3 count. Tony, hello, and I guess goodbye. Got Dick Steinborn versus El Gran Apollo. Up next.
Well, here we are. Right here. El Gran Apollo. The perfect mixture of a young athlete. Only thing he hasn't got experience. There you take a look at Steinborn, who's got all kinds of experience.
And he's a great wrestler. Leg block. But Apollo, with his speed, just turns him right over. When we talk about experience in professional wrestling, Bobby, this man, Dick Steinborn, he's been around for many years. And and great battles with you name it. You name names in professional wrestling.
That's right. You know, a lot of guys wrestling back a few years ago. If they wrestled Steinborn, a lot of them would watch because they know Steinborn's going to give you 110%. The other guys were made out of. Steinborn was kind of a measuring stick. And you see here, Steinborn's just out wrestling Apollo, right back, maneuver. I'll tell you right now, he's getting that experience.
When you talk about wrestling and ways of escaping, Mr. Steinborn, a master at this stat. Apollo on the other end, a young bodybuilder, pro wrestler. Look at this move. Look at this.
Pinning combination there.
Good escape by Apollo. And Steinborn. His specialty is the move.
So Steinborn, he made his debut in 1951. Not sure what year this is. You got El Gran Apollo.
Full Nelson by Apollo. Obviously here the strength. It's on a favor of Gran Apollo. But here comes Steinborn using the ropes.
Steinborn, everyone those ropes are not something that are just eyesore in the ring. They help you. Those ropes can help you win matches if you know how to use.
He will use it to his advantage. And when he feels like he's being outsmarted and not too many guys could do that. He will use those ropes to hurt his opponent, to choke him, to drop him on top.
Yeah,
to throw him over.
When you're hurt, the ropes they have to break.
They remember the name a lot.
Those ropes are a good thing.
Here comes Steinborn. Good hip toss. Wow. Good kick by Apollo. Look at the strength. That's brute strength on Apollo. He just strummed down on a body slam. And I think Steinborn hurt his side there a little bit.
I think Steinborn saying, well, we better get this thing together. This stronger, quicker. I thought he was. Steinborn, you gotta grab him now. There you go. That's beautiful.
Good move. You could easily break the leg on an opponent. If he's coming forward to charge you, and you're able to catch him like that, his knee could go
take him down.
You watch how Steinborn
Start working on that leg. Tell a story in the ring.
I know the fans of the Wrestling Council really enjoyed every match of this man. Many
you got a good wrestler out there, Steinborn. And El Gran Apollo's got a puncher. Now you tell me why.
Well, what we're not seeing here is all the other insults in the interview. On the way he expressed himself against the Spanish wrestlers or his opponent. Steinborn used a lot of psychology throughout his career, and he will sometimes just cut off the order of the other opponent.
They remember that name. He wrestled
right there. Even before he went into his undressing room.
That's the way
What's
guys
the story?
Rocket your car,
a three-time NWA Southern Heavyweight Champion, the Georgia Virgin Force, NWA Georgia Tag Team Champion, one time with Argentina Apollo, and yes, I do believe he was one of the many wrestlers who went with Ann Gunkel to help form All South Wrestling Alliance. He was their junior heavyweight champion, their first one, their first television champion, and one of the best. Their first one-half the tag team champion with Argentina Apollo. Also wrestling Florida, United States Tag Team Champion with Eddie Graham, Big Time Wrestling with King World Class, and of course, the World Wrestling Council where he made his debut in 1974 when their Junior Heavyweight Championship and the Caribbean Heavyweight Championship. He would actually retire in 1984. Unfortunately, he did pass away April 18th, 2020. But it was from years of declining health.
A draw that I was amazed to see the many wrestling holds by Mr. Steinborn, by Carlos, and the way Steinborn would escape. When he was almost pinned, he would just be able to magically pull out some kind of defense move and be able to escape for 60 minutes. Was a shocker of a match. It went to the limit, and Steinberg almost coming out a winner, but time ran out. It was a great match between Carlos Colon and Steinberg. Also some great matches of him, and then Bader won, Bader two.
The best in the business. And one thing you always say about Steinberg, he lasted with it. He stayed with it. He never ran from nobody. He never started a fight. He didn't finish. And I'll tell you one thing. Biggie Steinberg, even to this day, is still a respected name in professional wrestling.
Okay, good move by Apollo. Steinberg hitting his head on the top turnbuckle. As Apollo trying to regain some energies here. Look at that punch by Steinberg. He comes right at you.
Whoa. Just about knocking him out.
Low kick.
Yes.
I don't think it was intentional, though. I think
it was intentional. I knew this.
Way too many shots in the huevos here.
Everything. Look at the style on Steinberg. A classic style.
Boom, boy. They're going to straight. They're going to see who's the strongest one of the two. I think Diggy Steinberg just bit off a little more than chew with El Grand Apollo.
Changing kicks with Apollo. Not the right move by any means. Look at the arms on Apollo.
Yeah, he's got a reverse arm bar right there. That just opens you up.
You know, Apollo, many of the when he
Apollo
was coming along, had predicted him becoming a world champion, but nobody was counting on the factor of the injuries in professional wrestling. And two serious injuries. One was Sweet and another one I can't recall at the moment. Just took all the Apollo had. He had to retire. Otherwise, he was risking. Look at that.
Beautiful. 1, 2, 3 by Apollo.
Is that made up? That ring looks small.
1, 2, 3, and a surprise.
Okay, fans, here's the match of the match.
All right, here's the one I was really looking forward to here.
Abdullah the Butcher.
One I wanted to watch right here. Carlos Colon, Abdullah the Butcher versus Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen. Apparently there's a little financial deal here where, Abdullah would team with his arch rival, or one of his arch rivals, Carlos Colon, just to get his hands on one of his biggest rivals, Bruiser Brody. Bruiser Brody, Abdullah Butcher, man, they fought and drew money just like everywhere they went for their brutal matches.
And Abdullah Butcher, a lot of people don't think Abdullah did the right thing, accepting money to go as Carlos tag team partner. You know that, don't you?
This is a lumberjack match, which means wrestlers surround the ring, make sure that the wrestlers trying to escape, they throw them back in the ring, and usually ends in a big smosh.
To destroy Bruiser Brody, and at that time I don't think he really cared about having Carlos as his partner.
Well, I'll tell you something. Like I said, people do a lot of things for money, brother. And the money was there. Abdullah took the money. And he's going to try to give his word. So people don't have to worry about Abdullah Butcher. He gave Carlos his word to be his tag team partner. What he's going to do.
You know one thing that I got on you, Bobby Jaggers?
What?
I was there on the night of this classic.
I know. That's one thing. I'm watching for the first time.
I'm enjoying.
It was a great match. To see it right now.
I have always respected all the great personalities in all sports. But the one I always
starting to bleed from the forehead. Here's Carlos Colon. He's got a big bruiser. Brody come in, put the big size 15 on.
Lumberjack match. And all the superstars around the ring. See there, Don Kent.
And yes, if you're looking for, any kind of fancy catch can, drop toe holds, arm drag takedowns, hip tosses, hurricanranas, moonsaults,
Isn't he awesome?
suicide dives, anything like that, you're not going to get from Bruiser Brody or Stan Hansen. Obviously, you're not going to get from Abdullah.
And these are the results.
You're going to see some big boots, you're going to see the punches, you're going to see some furniture moving.
What Brody and Hansen dealt with. They were tag team partners.
Both ex-football players.
for West Texas State University, right? Which put out great football players, great wrestlers.
I heard even the coaches were afraid of this two man. I don't blame them.
They busted Carlos wide open.
Carlos, wide open.
Now we got Carlos Colon.
Awesome combination. They go up.
Having a little color here.
Both Brody and Hanson go way over. Big knee on the
And when they
floor.
come down to 300 pounds, you feel every
Go see a picture of Carlos Colon. Obviously, Abdul Butcher.
low kick.
Dang, all these freaking shots to the elbows.
And select matches. He knows what he's looking for. He's a wrestling fan besides being the owner of EG Productions. And he knows what it's important in history of wrestling. And that's where we're looking at this great classics of professional wrestling.
That's right. You know something there. Abdul Butcher doing what he does best.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I see the Superman inside the ring?
Here now.
And yes, that's usually, like I said, what usually kind of happens in a lumberjack match. They kind of usually ends in a smalls.
There's that boy on the floor, Grand Apollo. Carlos Colon's got something in his hand. Bruiser Brody's head's wide open.
Match getting out of control. Somebody interfere first and cost.
Oh, boy. Look at this. Carlos Colon's got a nightstick. Whoa.
Hanson
coming out there now.
Yeah, one of the things that kind of treat me to do a watch along with Bull Wrestling Camp. Like I said, I watched rewatched the show interview recently with Buddy Landell, and he was talking about how brutal this place was, and one of the things he said that pretty much had a military cop there, not the usual city sheriff or anything like that. And this is at a they usually have their big shows in baseball stadiums. This baseball is like really big. I don't know about now, but especially at the time baseball is really big. Had two big baseball stadiums. Now they're in the dugout.
And there's a
personal locker room dugout or dugout locker room.
Look right there.
Poor guy taking a piss. I don't know if the guy was really taking a piss and came around.
Using a bathroom. Just simple as that.
Ernesto's been in a lot of bathrooms before,
That's Tom Ernesto. Tom Ernesto, of course, he's famous for being one of the original assassins with Jody Hamilton. Became a booker. Actually booked All South Wrestling. Damn, it's the referee. That's not a very good babyface thing to do.
As we watch here.
Wait a minute, he's up in the dressing area now. Let's just getting a little bit ridiculous here now. He's not supposed to be up. Now here's
It's Miller time.
You know something, completely forgotten that we had footage right here.
This is
amazing. I was here at this night, and I believe it. You talking about Tom Ernesto being in the bathroom? I was naked on the other side. I was hiding for cover. My goodness, fans.
Ringside there now. Black Gorman, his head's busted open. Now what's going on here? Everybody's fighting out here. There's a super medic, Alvarez, Abdul and Carlos back out.
It's just incredible.
Simpson.
Okay, fans. We're gonna take you right now.
That's a young Alvarez and a young Keaton. And of course, there's that's exactly what this whole match is like. That's good. And like I say, when you get these two together, it's just a fight. You're just going to win this fight. I mean, if you're a big fan of like a John Moxley, I hate to say his name, Eddie Kingston, stuff like that.
Between Abdul the Butcher and Bruiser Brody. Larry Sharp was a manager at the time. And you also see Barabbas in the background.
Yeah, you know.
Again, you
This
tell
is- this is-
this is
this
a
is-
baseball
this is-
stadium.
this is-
Yeah,
this is-
baseball
ladies and
stadium.
gentlemen, and
I
anybody
believe.
that sat down
Yeah,
and
that's
watched
dugout right
watched
there.
that wrestling
Okay,
match between these two
let's
giants.
point out that Barabbas was
Larry
manager.
Sharp, the guy that mentioned, he used to run a wrestling school called the Monster Factory. Monster Factory is still around, even though Larry Sharp is he passed away a few years. Yeah, I mean, he was good. But you know, he gave the world Bam Bam Bigelow, the Godfather.
These are the last moments of this fantastic
Thanks
ball
QT Marshall
between
was
the Butcher.
was great. I don't know if he
Bruiser Brody.
I don't know if he trained there when Larry Sharp was there, and he became a trainer for the Monster Factory. Now he's one of the head, I think the head trainer for Nightmare Factory. That was cool.
Everybody else.
When I was young, seeing these two was a big deal. Brody, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's
Okay, Brody going at it. Obviously,
But see,
you
he
know,
had-
he never made it into the
he had a little more. This seems to me he just had a little more diversity back then.
An official win. They
Uh,
were just out to hurt each other.
Boy, look at Brody. Brody's got.
I mean, these two guys were. This was their character. They were, you know, brutal, ass kickers, blood guts, moving a bunch of furniture.
Barabbas looking out in the back.
I remember there was an episode of World Class one time where I forgot which referee it was. I'm a David. There was supposed to be a match about to take place. Rick Hasler was refereeing that match, but I think it was David Manning that ran down and said, "Look, is there any way we can postpone this match till later on? Because Bruiser Brody and Abdullah is in the back right now, and they have already started fighting. So we're gonna go ahead and bring this to the ring, and maybe they can start there, and we'll just move this match until later on." And that's what they did. They the two wrestlers supposed to wrestle. They kind of left the ring as Bruiser Brody and Abdullah made their way to the ring and started their match. But I think that ended like a double squash.
Okay, Abdullah Bruiser Brody.
These are just two big guys.
And I think Ricky Vargas shaved completely.
Oh yes. Shaved completely. Isn't that what he had the tattoo on?
Yes.
I mean, you had a few guys who were like this, but anytime you did see Bruiser Brody and Abdullah going to have a match together, I think people paid. People make sure they made it to the arena to watch these two guys fight.
I would say I was the best.
Look at Larry Sharp go back to the dressing room.
You know why I was the best? Because I brought the best out of the superstars.
I gotta admit, you had some good talent.
I was very positive. I gave him confidence, and I stood behind him. And I think the record speaks for itself.
That's right. Success always speaks for
itself. Look at that.
Brody went right over that rail. That Larry Sharp. Got the pretty boy.
And
he's got him in between
It's kind of weird seeing that, I guess.
between
I mean, especially at this time, I know in WCW, when they was trying to be cartoony and stuff like that, I think Bruce Brody, not Bruce Brody, Abdullah, it's kind of a babyface a couple times. There's a few times during the territories where Abdullah was a babyface.
They're just going absolutely
I think even Georgia Championship Wrestling ran an angle where Tommy Rich was looking for a partner and pay some money to Abdullah, but of course the heels wound up paying Abdullah more, and Tommy Rich.
Someday you get around people that
with Abdullah, it was never safe to be around him. Because you never know what this man could do.
Right there he just hit Robinson with a board. I'll tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, this has been just one great classic of a match. And we'll be right back.
Yeah, we got Carlos Colon, Pedro Morales, and Andre Giant, Sergio Kamba, and Ox Baker.
This has been exciting man. There goes Pedro Morales. Pedro Carlos comes in, does that cartwheel, and here they go. Carlos Colon just pounding on Kendo Nagasaki.
Kendo Nagasaki, he did a lot of time in Puerto Rico, also did a lot of time in Florida, and WCW when he was, or the late stages of Talking Promotions / Daytona taking over NWA. He was the Dragon Master as part of the J. Pet Corporation with Gary Hart, Greg Lewis, Terry Funk, and Sendo with Buster. And he would sometimes do the kabuki gimmick where he would split the just mention that he did the Green Mist thing.
Right here you got Invader number one in progress with the Hot Rod man himself, Roddy Piper. And then ladies and gentlemen, this are the classics. These are the classics.
And of course, this is
WWC. And I'll tell you something right now.
This is before he came into the WWE.
He's down here fighting.
It's probably
He was not well here in Puerto Rico or the Caribbean islands to speak about in the United States. He did become a great superstar. It was feuds like this one that made him a household name in professional wrestling because Piper it's every bit of that. A rowdy competitor, a tough cookie, and he was really ready for any kind of competition. We're looking at a classic encounter. The Roddy Piper had come to the islands and insulted the Puerto Rican wrestlers and the race. This was the match to settle scores between the Rowdy one himself, Piper, and Invader one.
Yeah, right there. You saw Roddy Piper. He caught up on that top rope to give him a big knee there. The Invader number one just taking the measure of Roddy Piper. Taking him and just, like you say, just there he goes. There's the Hot Rod. Now he's going for a grab.
Can he turn him over?
I don't know. The Invader number one's pretty strong boy.
Oh my goodness, what a move.
Carlos Colon's pet move right there. He put it right on. The Invader was worried about that box.
Hey, wrap the shoulders down.
Great move by Piper. Now, the Invader one must turn him over.
He's trying to get all the strength he can for himself, for the wrestling fans to get out of that.
There we go.
Holding on to the rope, leverage on it.
Let's see, learn that trick from Ric Flair.
I had the
Figure
pleasure
four.
Referee
got the back turn. Use the rope.
Piper and
hey, wrap the shoulders down there.
What he was gonna do.
He had a fuse. It was so short. He never knew where it was gonna go. He went
There it is.
Roddy, one of the toughest guys in professional wrestling for a long time. And now that he is retired, a lot of guys taking a sigh of relief from that.
Yeah. Well, I know the professional wrestling it's gonna always miss. Somebody like Roddy Piper, very important to the growth in audience, spectators all over the world. Because this man had a lot of followers, not only in TV programs, but they wanted to see him everywhere he went. Was success. For the promotions that had him under contract.
I like this now. If you can't get to the ropes, best way to get away from the figure four. Next thing you gotta do is reverse the figure four, and that's of course turn it over.
Referee breaks the hold. Piper feeling some pain. Misses the close line.
That's Roddy's move, sleeper hold.
That Invader does line right sleeper hold. Just like Roddy did a few minutes ago with the trying to go for the grab and reverse in the middle of it, going for the figure four. Both men do about the same.
Both men going for some good moves, and then we heard the bell ring. Time expired. We so fortunate to have been able to save last minute of this match for all you fans right now to witness one of the classic encounters between Rowdy Piper and Invader number one. Obviously here running out. This was just one of the first matches of Piper in main event matches here in the World Wrestling Council.
And ladies and gentlemen, Hardy Piper right back on the Invader number one.
What did I tell you about you never know what's my
when he's good. He explodes good.
The Rowdy
just ran the Invader's head right at ring post. You see that? Wow. Boy, he threw his face in that ring post, didn't he?
The referee pushing Piper back. The better one bleeding outside the ring. But Piper's coming back for more.
Well, I'll tell
See,
you,
no building, so that's
whoa.
somebody's got to bleed.
Piper over the head of the Invader one.
Boy, running that ring post.
Look at the hand.
Oh, he beat him up good, isn't he?
Blood all over his head. The damage has been done. Time expired on the official match, but they better want getting hit hard against the ring post. Let's listen to it.
Hear Roddy.
Oh.
That's something you don't see too much. The heel call for 5 more minutes. Of course, the heel being Roddy Piper's got the babyface Invader one down. And
a personal challenge.
After the Invader got his head busted open and got beat on by the fall, I don't think he's going to get 5 more minutes.
Okay, so Piper hits him twice in the head with the mic, hits him against the ring post. There is the head. It's not the head we're talking about. Jagger's the famous head.
The famous hat Roddy Piper you've been telling me about. You like this hat, don't you?
He came into with this hat, and everybody on the streets was talking about it the next day.
Well, I hope they get close to the hat. I want to see the hat.
The hat had like a pig's head in the front.
Oh, I see that.
Oh, let's not go. Let's get a close-up of this hat.
We gotta get close up with this hat.
Okay, we're getting close there.
Oh, there's the Invader right there.
Here we go.
Aren't we happy we didn't go?
I'm telling you.
Eddie Grice would have been hot with us.
There's the hat.
Gotta get the time back.
Boy, aren't we lucky here, Bobby?
Yes, sir. Like we said, we're bringing you the classics, and we got them all out. We haven't seen all these matches as we tell you right now. We're commentating. But like I said, here it goes. Invader number one, Roddy Piper again.
Well, Piper acts for 5 minutes. And 5 minutes are not up yet. Piper, don't go.
Oh, right hand by Invader.
Now Invader is bleeding. Piper much fresher of the two, but that ain't stopping Invader for trying to get even. And I think the worst part was the insults by Piper. Okay, Piper runs out. Here goes Invader one. Boy, does Eddie Grice have a selection for classic?
I'm telling you. I'm going to tell you, the wrestling library is complete. And Roddy Piper's head's busted open.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you something. The wrestling library is complete till you have all.
Oh, here comes Piper again.
Yep.
Whoa!
Right in the head.
Okay.
I'll tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. That was a classic match.
Okay. Now we can say it's over. Let's take you now to Bob Sweetan. Mr. Pound.
Yeah. I think this last match of this I think this last match I add on here. Kind of young Randy Savage here. Going against another, Puerto Rican legend, Hercules Ayala.
Try harder than that. Hercules, I yell, I want you to listen to me, and I want you to listen good. And I want you to concentrate, yeah. Do it real fine and do it for tonight in Ponce, yes. Because in Ponce, the Macho Man Randy Savage with his $1 million robes, oh yeah. I've done so much in such a short period of time that I amaze myself. Hercules, I yell, don't you know that you better not know that make me mad at all. Because I'm in style in Ponce, because I've been to Ponce before. And all the people in Ponce have been writing letters saying the world's greatest athlete and the world's sexiest wrestler. Yeah. All the chicks, man, in Ponce, come on out and see ya. A real man, yeah. Hercules, I yell, you're nothing.
Boy, Hugo, I don't think you can.
Classic. Right? Before WWF, of course.
Just to demonstrate, Jagger, the fact that Savage was a star many years ago. He was
Before New York came along.
Yeah, before New York, before WWF. He
Yeah,
was
I
a
think
great
this is
wrestler
probably
back then.
split time here with in Memphis,
player.
I believe.
I'll
That's
tell you
right.
that right now, you got
Yeah,
Triple A,
Hercules
who's a heck of a
Ayala.
third baseman and a heck of a good hitter. But he likes professional wrestling better, which is what his brother and his father have done for a living. And Macho Man Randy Savage is definitely a credit to professional wrestling. And in the ring with him, the strongest wrestler in the world, Hercules Ayala. And there's not too many things you can't say bad about Hercules Ayala. Number one, ex-Universal Wrestling Heavyweight Wrestling Champion.
Canadian heavyweight champion more than 3 times. European champion. Germany's heavyweight champion.
Yes, this man has been around. Hercules Ayala right now is embroidered in a bitter feud in Puerto Rico with Carlos Colon. And I'll tell you something, one of them's going to get crippled in that feud.
That's right. Okay, the belt shown by the referee Ricky Vargas. Randy Macho Man Savage, the North American heavyweight champion. Hercules Ayala to challenge him. We are in Ponce, Puerto Rico, approximately about 2 hours away from the capital of Puerto Rico, San Juan.
That's right. Of course, everything on this island is about 2 or 3 hours away. It's only 100 miles long and 35 miles wide.
Unless you drive at nighttime drunk to Maya West.
That's true.
And mess up the tires of your car.
There's a little inside joke onto that one there, ladies and gentlemen.
If you want to know about it, write to Eddie Grice Productions. He'll be happy to explain.
They see Macho Man and Hercules here. They're sitting there. I think this is one of their first meetings together. As you can tell, they're both kind of feeling each other out just to see what's happening, you know?
Well, I'll give you the insight on this rivalry. Randy Macho Man Savage taking a North American heavyweight champion, claiming that there was no man able to defeat him. Oh, what a body. He's always had great shape, this Savage. And Ayala promised the wrestling fans of the World Wrestling Council that on that evening, he was going to take the belt away from Savage. And Savage say, no way, as you heard in the interview. And this was the great battle for the North American Championship.
Well, I'll tell you something. Macho Man Savage went to slam Hercules Ayala. He didn't get him 1 inch off the mat. Let me tell you, brother.
Well,
Macho Man,
we right here in Capital Sports, and I'm pretty sure most
bench presses
of the
deadlifts and squats.
Wrestlers and officials in
pick
the
up
World
and
Wrestling
body
Council,
slam.
we are
Hercules
very
Ayala.
proud
There we go. Try
of
again.
Randy Macho Man Savage, and he's so successful today, and we recognize his talent.
Look at Hercules Ayala right now. Just press slam Savage. 260 pounds above his head and just pitched him across the ring. Now that's a man obsessed. That's a man. Look at Savage can't get out of the ring fast enough.
Okay, so now we go back into the other point. Now you have seen another Hercules in the United States, another Hercules, but when you go back this many years back and you already see a man wrestling under the name of Hercules Ayala, then this new superstars coming along with these names are not really the originals.
No, that's one thing about professional wrestling. The originals were back in the 40s and the 50s. We just carry on the tradition.
And Hercules Ayala has been in wrestling profession for many years.
And I might add, he's one of the top professional wrestlers in the world today. He's widely respected, and he's widely known that if you go into the ring with Hercules Ayala, you're going in there with the strongest man in professional wrestling, and he can and will hurt you. He's got an inverted figure four that has broken many legs.
What about the difference, though? At the time, Ayala was fighting for the colors of the Puerto Rican island, and his friends were Carlos Colon, the Invaders. At the present time, in 1988, Ayala is no longer a member of the Justice Army or the Puerto Rican wrestlers or the scientific style wrestlers, but indeed he's an ex-Universal champion, and he's one of the tough and roughest professional wrestlers, what you could call a bad guy.
Well, let me tell you something about Hercules Ayala.
Talking about bad guys,
Hercules
right next to me, it's one of
let me tell you about
those guys.
Hercules never had anything going his way until he started beating up those so-called friends of his that wouldn't let him have a title match. Then he started becoming a champion. That's why he changed his ways. Look what he's doing Randy Savage right now. He's just completely out-muscling this man, out-thinking this man. He's
Macho
totally
Man, he's
dominating this match.
he's not as big as he would be, say, 86, 87.
You could sense it right from the beginning.
Not as ripped, but
Savage thought that he could just
it would
go
get a
in the
little
ring
bit
and
bigger
just
than
walk
this.
all
And of course,
over
you know,
Ayala. But with the
at the tail
fans
end of
screaming
WCW and tail end
at
of
the
his career, he
Coliseum,
really
Pachimbi
kind of blew up a little
says,
bit,
in Ponce,
or blew up a
they
lot.
got the champion nervous.
Well, you can see right there, those big slams of Hercules have definitely taken their toll on Macho Man Randy Savage.
And one thing about Savage is he loves people applauding him. But if you
I
reject
say him and Bobby Eaton
if you
both had
boo
the best
him,
top rope
you could really
elbow
get him
drop.
upset.
Oh, that's for darn sure. And
And
the Puerto
was-
Rican wrestling fans are known to be a little bit trying to get everybody upset.
Oh, yes, especially if they are against the wrestler with their favorite wrestler in the ring at a time. In this case, Savage.
You take a look at Hercules Ayala. Hercules Ayala now knows. He's one of these guys that he knows right now that he's completely dominating this man, and I think he sees the fear in Savage's eyes.
Okay, Savage stalling for time here. Referee, he's all over Hercules Ayala. Ayala wants to get the champion inside the ring. Savage using a little bit of psychology, and that he is an expert.
Did you notice anything here, Hugo? This is all pre-Elizabeth days, too. He never had Elizabeth with him when he was down here.
She's been good to his wrestling career, but she hasn't made him a star. He has made her a star.
He's done the wrestling, that's right. She's just out there on her coattails. But anyhow, you can't argue with success. And here you go, Randy Savage got a side headlock. Oh,
he drops down again. Oh, another time. Whoa.
you see how effortlessly he did that, Hugo Smith? Just picked him up like a little toy. Just like a little toy.
Okay, the champion protects himself, putting the boot on the ropes. But Ayala right there, ready for it.
To slow down
And
a
if
little
you,
bit so I can
if
get
you
up and
haven't seen
body
Ayala,
slam like that.
let's talk to the fans that are maybe watching this tape right now in Canada, some parts
Looks like,
away from Puerto Rico, or the places where the World Wrestling Council tapes are seen. If they think that Ayala looks good in this tape, they should take a look of the most recent tapes of Eddie Grimes production.
one of those
He
foreign
is a
objects hidden in his
powerhouse.
pumps.
Oh, I'm telling you, he's Hercules Ayala. You can't say enough about him. I mean, he's a good friend of mine, and I'm proud to say he's a good friend of mine. And Hercules Ayala, without a doubt, will be the Universal Heavyweight Champion again.
Well, I don't know about that. There's a lot of men looking for the title in the upcoming tournament. There's Ronnie Garvin, there's Carlos Colon, the Iron Sheik,
Jimmy Boogie William Man Valiant,
Chris Adams. I don't think Valiant, it's been rated for the tournament, but you never know.
Dutch Mantel.
Until the date comes and you see the 8th man going for the tournament, then we know. But regardless of who wins the tournament, they might win the match right there and become the champion. The thing is, all the big names around the World Wrestling Council, including yourself, Jaggers, your partner, Dandy Dan Crawford, like you mentioned, the boogeyman Jimmy Valiant. There's also Kamala, and the list goes on and on.
They're going to be after that man the day he gets the belt around his waist. He's going to be a marked man. Everybody's going to be chasing him like he's got his hands full, he's got his hand caught in the cookie jar.
So we go back in history and check this classics. Randy Macho Man Savage, the North American champion at the time, defending the title against Hercules Ayala. Everybody talks about the great success professional wrestling has today. Wrestling has
All right, Rev, tell him
always
to put those
drawn
hands up.
great fans, but it never really had since 1940, the age of Gorgeous George, never had the national TV exposure.
That's right. You take a look at this house right here in Ponce.
nothing.
This was before New York days. I don't think you find too many seats there in that place right now. And Puerto Rico has been that way for years and years.
Many years.
Just fantastic wrestling fans. But of course, you have the best talent in professional wrestling here too.
And it's more.
Gosh, another shot to the Webos.
Right there, he just low blowed Hercules Ayala. And I'll guarantee you one thing, that just took the wind out of Hercules'
And
sails.
the fans didn't like it. The fans were upset about it. Nothing that
Ref
the
went
referee
for a
can do.
second.
Just warn
Savage took
Savage.
advantage and
And
nailed
look
him
at
in the
Savage.
Webos. Gosh,
Well,
what's
those
up?
people
What's up
behind
with the
him, they're
Webos
trying to tell Ricky
shot
Vargas
today?
to get him out of there, that he low blowed Hercules Ayala. Well, Hercules had full wind in his sails until that move there. Classic elbow. Boom.
You're talking about speed. That's one of the assets on Savage's wrestling career.
That's right.
The balance, the risk moves. There is one. Oh,
Oh, they caught him in a bear hug.
Mr. Hercules Ayala.
He got him in
That
a
looks
bear
smooth.
hug.
You got to admit that. That
You know,
did look
at one
smooth.
given point in his career, not only did Ayala defeated some top names, but he was one of the first wrestlers to
Ayala
defeat
had to be strong to
names
be able
like
to do
King
that.
Kong Bundy and the Iron Sheik.
That's right. Hercules Ayala has been around this island for a while. He's been in the central states of the United States, like we said, Canada before, Texas. Always very well received. Always, like I said, respected by the wrestlers. And I'll tell you something right now. Boy, when he gets up going, he gets a full head of steam on him. He's pretty good.
You know, I was there on that night of this match in Ponce. And the fans were
I still can't get him up.
100% behind Hercules, to the point that when Ayala was coming to the ring, everybody was just begging Hercules Ayala to defeat Savage because he was so confident. And as you know, Savage, when he is confident, he will brag and brag about it. But the thing was that on that given day, Savage had made the statement that Ayala was going to be defeated, and so did Ayala. So it was a tremendous battle, and we are honored in being able to bring it to you fans, so you can take a look at the classics in professional wrestling.
Well, I'll tell you something. Oh! Right there, that man moved. That's a bad way to end up.
Well, if it hurt in a moment, imagine after the body cools off.
Oh.
That's when it really hurts.
Oh, and there goes Hercules, that big size 13 boot, just stomping and kicking.
Okay, Ayala all over Randy Macho
Yeah,
Man Savage, the
a lot of people talk
challenger,
about, you know,
all
when they
over
talk
the
about Randy
champion,
Savage, talk
good
about, you know, the
punches,
promos, the
rocking
robes,
Macho Man.
the elbow from the top rope.
Whoa.
Oh, he's rock.
Another shot, the referee,
Again,
right
like I
in
said,
the
the promos, but,
middle, warning Ayala to go back. He's counted.
The Savage, man, the Savage just takes some
Ayala
bumps.
better be careful or he's going to get disqualified in this title match. He's not going to win
He'll
no time.
definitely buff around
Yes,
for,
sir.
you know, whoever's
Ricky
wrestling
Vargas should
for.
explain it to him
Or
right
wrestling
now.
with.
Listen to him or he's going to take him back to the dressing room.
Okay, Savage throwing some punches to the wind.
Oh, big right hand by Hercules Ayala.
And Savage at this moment was facing danger.
He knows he's about ready to get
Oh, look out.
Oh, there he goes.
That is the moment where Savage
Pulling out the
takes
chain.
out a big chain and nails Ayala right on the head. He goes for the cover. Look. 1, 2. Ayala barely puts his boot on the lower rope.
Well, I'm telling you something. You see that Macho Man Randy Savage turn his back, the camera reached in his pocket, got a chain,
Savage,
come out with the chain.
but Ayala stood right up.
Oh,
A lot of blood coming out from the head of Ayala, but he was there, ready to finish. Savage going again for the chain. This time hitting Ayala.
there he goes. He's getting that chain again. He'll go. Now let's just see what kind of damage you can do with it.
He picks up.
Boy, he almost turned towards the referee there, brother.
All right.
Classic Randy Savage move. Up on the top rope.
The Macho Man. Oh, he missed the elbow.
That's something you didn't see a whole lot of.
And
missed
when he
that
missed the elbow, he went one more
Nice
time
that
for
chain
the chain.
again. Bam.
Hits Ayala.
Ayala's down again.
One, two.
Foot on the rope.
And I'm talking about he saved himself, putting the boot on the lower rope. Just 1 second away from victory for the champion. Referee puts the arm down. The match continues. Ayala bleeding, but not quitting.
He's been hit twice with that chain. I don't know how much Hercules Ayala can take of that chain before he has to lay down for a 3 count.
Okay, Savage getting close to Hercules Ayala. He wants to use the chain one more time. Referee warning Savage not to break the rules. Here comes Ayala. He's searching for the chain.
That's
He's got
awkward.
his hand in his tights there. He's trying to get that chain out, and he's going to use it on Macho Man Randy Savage, if he can, I think.
Oh, he's got the chain. Yes, sir, he's got it. Away from the referee, and he hits him hard. He got him. One, two, three.
Right there, Hercules Ayala wins the North American heavyweight title in Ponce, Puerto Rico from Macho Man Randy Savage. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you and tell you it's been great bringing this video to you this week.
Before we go away, Savage tried twice using the chain. Was very lucky for Ayala to be close to the ropes. Ayala conquering the championship. Everybody in Ponce was so happy. The friends were coming in from the dressing room. Everybody to congratulate Hercules Ayala, who had defeated the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Boy, that's right. I'm telling you, that's just a great night there in Ponce. But like I said, Hugo,
let's wrap it up then.
Let's wrap it up. We're just going to go to the closing.
Wrestling fans, this concludes Wrestling Classics, another outstanding production of ENG. We have really seen some fantastic matches. The late Bruiser Brody, Dory Funk and his wife against Mullen Carlo, the Hot Rod Roddy Piper, plus Macho Man.
So yeah, I guess referee didn't catch him with it, and even though it's kind of in front of his face, so can't really say the refs look like geniuses compared to rest of the day, especially in that last match. But looked like it was kind of in front of him. But Ayala got to hide it before refs seen it, so we didn't get the dusty finish there, or I won't say dusty finish, that reverse finish where ref makes the pin count, raises the babyface hand, sees the chain. First decision, heel wins, even though the heel was using the chain throughout the match. But yeah, like I said, some exciting stuff back in the old World Wrestling Council. Like I said, seen a bunch of people that a bunch of Americans came through there. Brody, Abdullah, Piper at one time, Savage. Before they came to Texas, or at least before Steve Simpson came to Texas, he went to Puerto Rico for a while, and Eric Embry, he was the star down there. Dutch Mantell, of course. And if I remember correctly, on the shooting review, I think Buddy Landell said he kind of got his first break, in Puerto Rico. He went down there and said, "Hey, can you dye your hair blonde and be a heel?" He's like, "Sure." And the rest is history on his career. Too bad his personal habits kind of derailed what could have been his career. But yeah, like you said it. Everyone came through Puerto Rico at one time. I mean, it was one of the territories at the time, and kind of like Japan. There's plenty of wrestlers, especially at that time period, would go to Japan, make big money, including Bruiser Brody, Stan Hansen, Abdullah the Butcher, the Funks. The Funks, traveled to Japan a lot, and they came to Puerto Rico a lot too. Yeah, a lot of great stuff at the time. In Puerto Rico. Let's see, well, I remember they had a tape one time. I should have included it on here, but I should have tried to find it. I did find it. It was there. I should have included it on this one. But I know they was advertising a tape where they had a fire match. Uh, Basically, I guess they had something around the ropes and they set the ropes on fire. Uh, and this is before FMW did it, before WWE did it. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else before Puerto Rico did it. Not off the top of my head, but if anybody knows, let me know so they can get credit, of course. But Puerto Rico was the first ones I seen that had a fire match, uh, and they was including that on some video. And of course, at the time I was a kid, I couldn't get it. That was my favorite commercial from the Saturday TV shows. Yeah, I mean they would advertise the hell out of that video where it had had the had the fire match. I think wasn't it called like the Caribbean's bloodiest matches or something like that. I know there's another commercial tape that had heavily advertised Tommy Rich like the bloody battles of the South or something like that. But this is like the Caribbean version, except for it happened in Puerto Rico. But like I said, fire match and all kinds of bloody match, which you seen right there. It had you had plenty of bloody stuff. Sometimes all the good fights happen after the match. But like I said, it was from a commercial tape. Yeah, barbed wire sheepers versus the invaders. And of course, like I said, for sheep herders who became the bushwhackers, they have bloody matches everywhere. Maybe I need to maybe put a compilation of bloody matches or something like that on here. Don't know how much of that I can get away with. I mean, the only way I can really get away with doing a watch along with, say, something from the Crocker Promotions or something from uh, UWF Mid South is where uh, basically I would have to share a link to that, and not sure if you can really do it on your phone. Maybe on your tablet or a laptop, desktop would be kind of open up another window to uh, play the video, then you know come back to me watching, which not really the format like I'm doing right now. That's about the only way I can get. Uh, Basically, kind of the same way. If you're watching like the What Happened When with Tony Schiavone, and they do a watch along, basically you gotta go to the network uh, or like I said, do a link. Uh, Basically, click play as soon as they say click play, and listen to it that way. If y'all are interested in doing it that way, uh, we can do it that way. Like I said, to keep watching me, you had to basically, before basically get the other video ready, get the other window ready, and when you open it, the other window too, you gotta like split them. Um, mm, anyway, split the two windows where you can then put them side by side so you can watch what I'm saying or listen to what I'm saying and doing while watching the video. Does that make sense? Yeah, there was a skyfall match between, and yeah, that I think that was on the bloodiest matches or one of their commercial tapes. Let's see, what was this one called? Da-da-da. Okay. Actually, let me on the commercial tape. I did uh I didn't include all the matches on this watch along, but this comes from a like I said commercial tape called Classics of Caribbean Wrestling. It was shared by Classics WWC. So appreciate you guys letting me or forgive me for using it and splicing some of it. But here's a link to it if you want to watch that whole tape. But yeah, I mean, if you're like watching me on the phone and take your laptop or something like that and watch the WWE owned um, world class whatever. But the only way I can like upload or put something on YouTube while I get copyright hit is kind of distribute somewhere some other way than play it on here. But yeah, there's another I think another commercial tape was called Superstars of the Caribbean, and it had and since you did let me use your tape that you put out here. Yeah, it was a Cheeky Star versus the Vader 3 Skyfall match. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely want to share some of that so you can see some of the basically the fights that Bruiser Brody and Abdullah had. Uh, and as soon as I seen they had Carlos Colon, Abdullah Butcher versus Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody, I definitely had to include this match on the watch along this week. Yes, Chicken Star. It's Chicky Star. And you had Ron Star, who was definitely not Puerto Rican. He kind of had an accent like I do, but heck of a talent he was. This one of those guys that don't really get talked about because he was kind of a territory. I think he stayed in Puerto Rico a long time, and a few other places. But sorry, I'm looking at my notifications here. So not in trouble yet. Not yet. Yeah, he. I vaguely remember him on commentary, but I remember him being kind of funny. Uh, and yes, unfortunately, in that last match, or Invader One was the guy who was charged with the murder of Bruiser Brody. Unfortunately, I didn't. I thought it was Invader 3 at first. My bad. It was Invader 1. I can't do it now. You saw you still do it, but I can't do it. I was like something like that. I can't. I had to listen to it again. I used to be able to do it pretty good. Oh, anyways, uh, I gotta figure out how to do what to do next week. Think maybe next week. Trying to think. What can we do next week? maybe next week do some more Memphis again. Memphis is always could be exciting. Maybe some Memphis from 1986 or 87. Probably go with 86. But yeah, like I said, the only way I can think of to do uh, watch alongs is kind of do it like the what happened when. Uh, if you want to use your phone, then use your phone, use your tablet, have two different windows. One, of course, having me on there, and the other one having the link to the what we're going to watch along. Then do the 3, 2, 1, click it before I do. Who is calling me? I should embarrass this person and say, "Hey, first time caller, how are you doing?" But yeah, like I said, that's probably the only way I can kind of do cup or WWE owned stuff. Sorry, one of us to deal with somebody call me, so I'm gonna not gonna embarrass them, but kind of show them I'm a little busy here. There we go. We're gonna use a phone. Oops. Da, 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 da. Come on, play along with me. Flip this up here, and there we go. Sorry, I'm playing along here, and y'all just enjoying it. I know I probably shouldn't do this while I'm trying to be a star here. That's what I'm gonna tell this person. I'm trying to be a star. Trying to be a star here. Da, 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 da. Why is it I'm like quicker at doing this stuff while I'm not doing something? I must not be a good multitasker, obviously. Obviously, see, I shut up while I was talking, while I was typing. And let's see here. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to be a star here. Anyways, now back to talk about wrestling. Um, but yeah, but I think next week, like I said, might put a poll up or just let me know if you people are comfortable with doing that. Uh, I'll uh, show a video of how you can do that beforehand. Some of you, this like I said, split the windows so you can kind of watch me, then watch the video at the same time. Because otherwise, if I keep doing like this, like I'm doing, I got it to when I kind of convert it from the YouTube video to this. Uh, I can only do that with non WWE owned stuff, obviously, because I'm not been. The only thing I've been copyright hit on is my intro, and that's why if you see on the replay, half the intro is either half or the whole intro is like not there because I get copy. Even though it looks so cool, but I I will make another one here soon, so I don't have to do that. But yeah, if we want to see like AWA World Class stuff, that's how we're gonna have to do it. Kind of like the Tony Schiavone does on What Happened When. But stuff I can actually upload, convert, share on the video like I did with a World Wrestling Council, like I did with Memphis and all the others before. I can do that. Um, so yeah, I think I'll let y'all know. Just keep listening to, keep looking at me on social media and definitely on here, and I'll uh, let y'all know what we're doing. If I got to share a link, I'll share a link, and we can go from there. Or maybe next week just do Memphis. Keep it simple. We'll see what happens next week. Uh, but one thing I do know, I definitely I couldn't want to do intro because man, they love copyright hitting me on that one. I except for the last 2 weeks, because like I said, if you watch the replay, you'll know there's like little to no intro whatsoever. Um, because I get copywritten on. I'm so proud of that intro. I, I like it, dude. I mean, I don't know how to do this that good to begin with, but that one I did, probably one of my better ones. Um, like I said, I'm not professional at this, so to me it looked cool. I don't know about anybody else, but for a complete amateur like me, it looks pretty freaking cool. So, uh, anyway, I think that's gonna about wrap it up tonight for Wrestling Gold Friday night. Let's see. Let me just do do plug my other shows here. On Tuesdays, I got Wrestling Trivia Tuesday. Uh, every Tuesday, I ask 5 questions, all dealing with sport, professional wrestling. Usually, these questions come from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. Kind of get a mix with older fans and newer fans kind of watching. So uh, check that out. What I usually do, record on Mondays. They're usually available on Monday mornings at 10 a.m. But yeah, check that out. And those are recorded. It's not, like I said, they're recorded, not live. Also, I got my recap shows. I got the usual WWE Raw recap show. Usually try to get those out by Tuesday or Wednesday. Uh, I gotta do better by this one. AEW Dynamite recaps. Usually those are on Thursdays. I put those up on this when I'll put those up. Uh, actually record and put those up. Because also on Thursdays I got my live stream. The original OG live stream from me, spot show live stream with me, Ronald Ray. Uh, that's on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Friday morning in Japan, and 5 a.m. Friday morning in India. And of course, as always, uh, Wrestling Gold Friday nights. Friday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Mountain, or 9 a.m. Saturday morning in Japan, 5 a.m. Saturday morning in India. Also, this weekend I will have a review recap for King and Queen of the Ring, and uh, also a review and recap of AEW Double or Nothing. So, anyway, hopefully everybody has a fun, safe Memorial Day weekend. Salute to all the troops uh, that allow us to have the freedoms we do now. So, um, sorry, some of them ain't with us. I mean, that's what Memorial Day is for. Remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. I hate using that pun, but I can't think of another one. So, um, but anyway, everybody have fun on that. Like I said, stay safe. Uh, uh, and have fun, of course. But remember those who did uh, give up that ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. But until next time, you folks have a good one and take it easy. Hey there, thank you for checking this out. If you enjoyed it, share with friends, drop a like button, leave a comment. Also, be a champ and hit that subscribe button. You can also check me out on social media, Facebook at Ronald Ray, on X or Twitter is RPATRPTV46. Until next time.
So long from the peach state of Georgia.